Welcome into the January 30th edition of the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano with Dave Morassutti. The Maple Leafs go 500 on the weekend, but ended in style, giving John Tavares a victory in his 1,000th NHL game. TJ Brodie returned in the win as well, but perhaps maybe the bigger storyline out of this weekend coming from the Friday night game. Goalie controversy with Matt Murray pulling the pin after warmups. We'll get into all that and more coming up on today's edition of the Locked On Leafs podcast.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Leafs podcast, one-stop shop for all things Leafs. I'm your host, Mike DiStefano from TSN 1050 Toronto Radio, also known as Al's brother on TSN's Overdrive and TSN 1050's Leafs Lunch. Joining me is my co-host, Dave Morassutti from Sportsnet, also a writer for the NHLPA. Locked On Leafs is a daily Maple Leaf-centric podcast, so be sure to subscribe for free wherever you get your podcast from. You can also now catch us up on YouTube. It's Locked On Leafs on YouTube, and get brand new Leaf-centric coverage all week long, Monday through Friday. We get a new episode for you each and every day. So make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we drop those videos as well. And today's episode is brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of the Locked On Network, and make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. Well, Dave, did you have a good weekend, pal? What'd you get up to? It was a busy one, right? I mean, you had Friday, you had the Sens game, had the Royal Rumble that we had to watch for sure on the Saturday, and then a full day of football along with the Leafs game kind of packed in right in the middle of the two games there. It was a good a sporting event weekend for us.
Yeah, it was very weird because you're just like Friday night, finish work, and it's like, oh yeah, there's hockey tonight. There's a Leaf game tonight. Like,
Yeah,
I can't remember the last time I watched a Leaf game on a Friday night.
it's been a while. I mean, it's typically like a Saturday night, and that freed everybody up for Saturday, and there's nothing going on. So it was a bit of a different situation than we're used to. But maybe that's why it was such a bizarre day and a bizarre game. And we'll get into that whole situation. They lost to the Senators big time. But honestly, I don't blame them. They kind of were thrown for a bit of a whirl at the start of the game. Matt Murray was supposed to be the starter. He was the projected starter. He went out for warm-ups and everything. And then all of a sudden, Ilya Samsonov is named as the starter on the lineup, and he comes out to start the game. And it didn't go well, we could say. They end up taking the L. We'll talk about that and maybe what that means for Matt Murray going forward. What I can tell you is that he will be out for the next couple of weeks next couple games, and then won't return until after the All-Star break, which means, about a week and a half from now, basically. I think they're back. February 10th is the first game back from that All-Star break. So won't see him until at least then. But why don't we start the positive? Start about the game that we just witnessed. The win against the Capitals. John Tavares, 1,000th game. Congratulations to JT on 1,000 games. That's a massive accomplishment that he's able to do. And, the Maple Leafs, I thought, put together one of their more, I wouldn't say like 60 minutes, but like 55-minute effort tonight. Like they really did control that thing from puck drop to the final whistle.
Yeah, especially, the only bad part of the game was kind of the end of the first period where they kind of let the foot off the gas, and then the Capitals got that power play and scored on it, and you're just like, oh, it's going to be one of those where they play well, one little part goes against them. But I give them a lot of credit. The second period has been one of their worst periods of late, and it was their best period of the game. Like, I credit them for that. They needed to bounce back after Friday just left an awful taste in a lot of people's mouths. So yeah, that was definitely a 55-minute effort all around. Not a lot that you can speak ill about.
No, not at all. I mean, We'll go through our 3 stars of the game momentarily, but just to, I guess, a really quick roundup of what we saw happen. TJ Brody made his return in this game. I thought that he looked really, really solid in this one. We saw, Engvall scored a really nice rip, going top cheese. Had a couple really nice plays as well. On top of that, you saw Willie extend his goal scoring lead to, I think it's about 28 on the year now for Toronto. I think he's on a 7-game point streak. He's got 12 points in those 7 games too, which is pretty impressive. And obviously, we can't forget about Morgan Rielly finally scoring his first goal of the season. It's come all the way to the end of January, but Rielly has finally put one into the back of the net. Now you could tell just how relieved he was. The celebration, just hands up in the air, and just looked up and just said, finally, I have scored a goal. It's been forever. And it was just a really great performance all around from the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, no, I think the Rielly goal is probably the most gratifying moment of the game, just because we know what he's been going through this whole year. So you could tell, like, something like that, it felt like it was weighing on him.
Yeah.
He's not going to say it, but a reaction like that tells you exactly how he's probably been feeling about his play and not having a goal. A lot of guys in the team have a goal. Him not having a goal, that's very, very strange.
Yeah, considering he makes 8 sheets, but I don't know if you saw this. Apparently, he was with the Easter Seals yesterday, and they're asking him. Some of the kids were asking him, like, "Hey, when are you going to score a goal?" And so, I mean, clearly everyone wants to know, Mo, when are you going to score a goal? It's a good question. And he said tomorrow. Well, looks like he was right. He did end up getting the monkey off the back. So maybe it was, him not wanting to let the kids down. And he made sure that when he saw that opportunity, he went and he fired that into the back of the net. But yeah, overall, a really good game. Even Samsonov bouncing back after a tough loss against the Senators, went in cold, obviously. But, this is a game against his former team. This is a bit of a revenge game for him, and he was fantastic as well. So all around, a really good effort for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They end up getting the victory. Tavares had a couple of points. He was named, first star in the building, and he did have a pretty good game as well. So a lot of good stuff happening in this game. So why don't we take one quick break? We get back, we'll go through our 3 stars, and then we'll talk a little bit about this whole Matt Murray situation, because that deserves a few minutes of our time to address what happened Friday. So we'll do that all when we return. But first, Dave, how about a word from one of our show sponsors, Athletic Greens?
Yep, a product that I take every day, trying to live a healthier life here, trying to get into a great routine, and AG1 helps with that. It's just one delicious scoop, and I'm absorbing 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start my day off right. It's a special blend of ingredients to help support gut health, nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All of those things. And it's great if you're traveling, because they have travel kits. Comes with many great features. My bundle came with a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D. Now, why is it important to take multivitamins? Well, tons of people takes all different kinds of multivitamins, and it's important to choose one with high quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb. AG1 is a small micro habit with big benefits. It's one thing you can do every single day to take care of yourself. Your subscription, as I mentioned, will come with a free 1-year supply of vitamin D, which is so important to add in especially the winter months where we don't get as much sunlight and our immune system just needs just a little extra boost. So it's great. That's a great little bonus to add to it. Now, why was Athletic Greens started? Well, the founder was experiencing a ton of gut health issues and ended up on a complicated supplement routine to recover. It cost him $100 a day. So he decided to create Athletic Greens after experiencing how difficult it was to create an optimal nutrition routine all on your own. And as we know, Athletic Greens cost you just around $3 a day, which is cheaper than your cold brew habits. So you're investing in an all-in-one daily nutritional insurance. But right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano. Got Dave Morassutti with me. We're your hosts here at Locked On Leafs. Toronto, a 6-2 loss to the Senators Friday night, but parlayed that into a victory. A nice bounce-back win over the Washington Capitals Sunday afternoon. I guess it was more of an afternoon game. Sunday night, afternoon. I don't know. I guess it ended at nighttime. We can call it a Sunday night game. So they end up winning that game 5-1, as we noted before. John Tavares' 1,000th game in the NHL. So it was a really nice ceremony that they had. And I always think the Maple Leafs do a really good job with these ceremonies. Like it's definitely a strength of theirs. Like there's a lot of bad press that a lot of teams get for a lot of stuff that happens. But the Maple Leafs, typically, whenever they have some sort of event in honoring or, any one of these, like 1,000th game or 1,000 points, whatever it may be, and they're always top notch. And today was just as top notch with John Tavares getting his 1,000th game. All right, why don't we go through our 3 stars of the game in against the Washington Capitals? Dave, why don't you kick us off with your 3rd star?
I'm gonna go with Ilya Samsonov. I think he deserves a shout out. He's had to take up a bigger workload than he was supposed to be. So I credit him. He only allowed the 1 goal, looked solid in the game. It wasn't a high volume game for him, so those are never easy for a goalie. But I thought he did quite well in this one.
Sorry, it was
Samsonov.
Thank you. So I thought you had said. I got a text that I had to quickly respond to. But I also had Samsonov as my 3rd star too. He wasn't tested a whole lot, like you said, but he is somebody who. What I really liked more so was just it was his 6th straight start that he's made, 7 straight appearances that he's now made for the Maple Leafs. But it was the bounce back from Friday night where it was just a weird situation, but then Sunday where he knew he was starting, got himself mentally prepared for it, and then got the win against his former team. Again, wasn't overly distressed. Like I think Washington as a whole, like their expected goal totals was around like a 1 goal or something like that. I'm just looking it up right now. At 5-on-5, their expected goals was 1.19, and then I think at 1.89 even at in all situations. So the Maple Leafs did a pretty good job defensively. They didn't give up anything really, just 8 high danger chances even. So he wasn't tested a whole lot, but he did make the stops, and I thought it was nice mentally for him to have a bounce back game, and I thought that he should also get represented for that. So I also gave him the 3rd star. Your 2nd star.
I'm gonna go with Morgan Rielly. He got his 1st of the year. I just thought he got a solid game. I mean,
yeah,
it means much. You could see what it means to have TJ Brodie back, right? You're gonna take a TJ Brodie in the lineup over a Jordy Ben, and even like in this situation and the role, you're gonna take him over Connor Timmins. I mean, you're gonna take TJ Brodie over Connor Timmins any day. But I'm saying for the role, it makes it different when you can add a top 4 defenseman because Morgan Rielly clearly did need to have him back just to kind of that familiarity, knowing that your partner's gonna kind of how the two of you kind of work off each other. He was on the ice for 3 goals for, 0 against.
You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it, man. You absolutely do. I'm glad you gave him some love there. I debated if I was going to put him at maybe when you said Samsonov, I did debate. Oh, maybe I should put Rielly in here as my number 3. But I'm glad you did and you had him in there because he deserves a lot of credit for how he played tonight. And getting the monkey off the back with that first goal was big. But also, like the fact that TJ Brodie back with him, it just gives him that confidence to jump back up into the rush a lot more. Like, I'm not sure he would have followed up with that play, had it been Justin Hall or Timothy Liljegren, would he have followed up and try and scored that goal and leaked down defensively without knowing who's back there, right? So I think that having Brody in the lineup definitely makes Morgan Rielly a better player. It makes the overall defense a lot deeper too. Like this is now you look at the defensive core and we're looking at Rielly, Brody, Gio Hall, Sandy, and Liljegren. That's a pretty good first, second, third pair that I think like if this team elects to go and get a top 6 winger, which is being kind of talked about and reported more heavily these days, that's a pretty solid 6-man unit that they have on the blue line. And then they also have Jordy Ben and Connor Timmins waiting in the wings as guys who could come in, if injuries do happen, which they always do in the playoffs. Somebody gets hurt at some point. So they've got a nice little stable of defensemen that they've got here if everyone could stay healthy. And you can see that when everyone's healthy and you've got your chemistry with your partners and you've got that depth, everybody plays a lot better. And we saw that happen tonight with Morgan Rielly, obviously. William Nylander, for me, is going to get a second star. I think like Nylander's just been a rock star the last little bit. Like I said, he's on a 7-game point streak. And, he scored a goal tonight again to extend his goal scoring lead of the team to 28, almost had a 29th. That was a really nice play by Pierre Engvall too. I want to give Engvall some love today. He's not one of my third stars, but I'm going to give him an honorable mention because he made some plays. He did score a goal, and that little sauce he made to Nylander, I thought Nylander was going to net it, but that was actually a really nice stop by the goaltender Lindgren at that point. But I just thought that Nylander was probably one of the best Maple Leafs out there on the ice tonight. And, when he gets a chance to drive a line, I think he relishes that. So when you look at it and it's Yarncroc, Kerfoot, and Nylander, he knows I got to be the guy. And when that happens and he's, getting those favorable offensive zone starts for the most part, I find that Nylander, he shows up in those moments. And he did again tonight, and 91% expected goals when he was out there. 8 scoring chances for, 0 against when he was out on the ice. So Nylander for me got a second star.
Yeah, I think that's that last part you mentioned there was crucial because against the Senators, sure, he was putting up points, but he was also on the ice for a lot of goals against. Like,
yeah,
he needed. I think that's what Sheldon Keefe is probably looking from him. Yes, well, you put it in your offense, but you still got to have some semblance of a presence on defense. So I think that was a very crucial part to his game. So, yeah, very deserving of a star tonight. That's for sure.
Number 1 star.
We have to go with the captain. You have to go with the guy who is celebrating his milestone night. It kind of caught me off guard. Like when I think it was, pretty much this week they were talking about it being 1,000. I'm like, wow, 1,000. Like it didn't dawn on me that John Tavares has played 1,000 games.
So it's funny. I realized it, probably early in the week. I saw an article on NHL.com, and it said like Sam Gagner, first of Toronto 4-pack to reach 1,000 games, and it was like him. So Gagner did it like about a month or so ago, a few weeks ago. Tavares did it, and then I think Pietrangelo is one of those guys who's soon to do it, and then there was one other Toronto-born player, and they kind of all grew up playing with one another and against each other with like the Marlboros and just when they were really really young kids. So playing like midget hockey and stuff. So I saw that and I realized, oh, it's this Sunday. But yeah, it did kind of sneak up on you a little bit. But he played well tonight again, as he typically does, and ended up with a couple of helpers on the night too. So didn't score. Would have been nice if he put one in the back of the net, but John Tavares doing John Tavares things. It's not always the flashiest. He just is efficient, really. Super efficient, and that's what he was again tonight. So that's why he got the first star from both of us, I suppose. And it's just a special night, so he's just gonna get it anyway.
Yeah, I like the whole night was done right. I like the ceremony. I mean, they're pretty standard across the league in terms of how the ceremonies are done. So I do like that the league kind of does it that way, so that everyone kind of gets kind of the same feeling throughout. But I just think like you talk about efficient. He only played 18 minutes in this game, and he had 2 assists. I mean, that's kind of at the par for John Tavares. But yeah, I think with Austin Matthews sideline, he's the one that's got to drive the bus, right? He's the
Well,
one
that's what it
that's
is.
continue doing
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Exactly. So it's like 18 minutes, like, okay, that's normal. But then when you think about it, it's like, well, that's 18 minutes, but there's no Austin Matthews. You'd think it'd be a little bit more, but I guess they kind of want to spread things out. And when you're leading 4-1 the third period, it was a chance to get that third and fourth line out there a little bit more often. And I thought they played well too, right? I mean, there was a really nice who scored? Zach Aston-Reese. Pontus Holmberg, nice little sauce pass to Czar for a breakaway goal, a little forehand backhand action. So they had scoring from all 3 lines tonight. All 3 lines were able to get goals and were able to find some offense. So it was a well balanced night from the forwards to the defense to goaltending. Special teams was good. They got a power play goal. All 4 lines was rolling, got some production out of. So yeah, it was a real solid bounce back performance from what what we saw on Friday, at least with the loss of the Senators. And speaking of, Dave, speaking of that loss of the Senators, the real main story coming out of that one was Matt Murray not good to go when it came down to game time. We'll chat about that in just a moment. But first, let me tell you about one of today's show sponsors, and it's one of our favorites. It is FanDuel, the FanDuel Sportsbook app this year. The only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel. It is North America's #1 sportsbook. We're really excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they're the #1 sportsbook in North America, FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, it's even better. They got so many great features that makes betting on sports fun and easy. You can download the FanDuel app now so you can get your Super Bowl 57 with a no sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid on your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/LockedOn to claim your no sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL and the Locked On Network. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano from Locked On Leafs. Got Dave Morassutti with me as well, my co-host here. And Dave, I was just kind of perusing Twitter and I saw a really cool little story I'm going to share here. New world record at the teddy bear toss today in Hershey, Pennsylvania. 67,309 bears hit the ice. Look at this photo of him just jumping into these bears. This is amazing. Absolutely amazing. You love to see it.
Oh, the teddy bear toss is like it's one of my favorite traditions. I actually got a video here. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, like these are just so incredible to like witness. Like I would so love to be like to jump into that teddy bear like pile. Like that's just so cool.
Yeah. That'd be awesome to be able to do that.
Yeah. I know Hershey, they like that's like their thing.
Did my screen share not work, by the way?
Oh yeah, it didn't work. That's why I put it up.
Oh, okay. I thought I was sharing it the whole time when I was reading out the tweet and showing the photo.
No, I was like, oh, he doesn't have it up, but I took 2 seconds to find it because I knew the tweet. But yeah. What a wholesome picture. But yeah, they do such a great job with it every year.
I don't know why they don't do it in the NHL. Like, I know it's a junior hockey thing, and I guess the AHL too, Hershey. But I don't know why the NHL doesn't do something like that. Especially in maybe the, like, if you're Arizona this year and you're at the College Stadium, right? You're at Mullet Arena, do a teddy bear toss. See how many teddy bears can you get from 5,000 people? Try and break a record. Get people to bring out 4, 5, 6 teddy bears, and just make it an event that's people go to the teddy bear toss. I remember growing up in Niagara, and anytime the Ice Dogs did the teddy bear toss, that was like the hottest ticket of the year. Hottest ticket of the year for the regular season, at least. Everyone wanted to go to the teddy bear toss. It was cool.
Funny enough, there were probably more people at that Hershey game than go to the actual Coyotes games. It's like almost double capacity.
Probably right. Probably right on that one. All right, Dave, let's get into this story from Friday night. So I'll tell you exactly where I was, and I was in I didn't watch the game live. I had to rewatch it later on because I had plans that night. Because again, didn't realize there's a Friday game, and a few weeks back I made these plans, and then I realized, oh crap, there's a Friday game, and it was already too late. But so I was out for dinner and I went to a comedy show afterwards. But we're at dinner, and I get a text from a buddy saying Matt Murray's not playing tonight. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, Matt Murray's not playing. Samsonov's starting. So I go on Twitter, and sure enough, everyone's going crazy about how Matt Murray is not playing, Samsonov starting, and then there was a rumor about maybe Nylander had hit him in warmups or something, and then it came out yesterday that it was an ankle injury for Matt Murray, and he'll be reevaluated when the team returns from the All-Star break. So it's an ankle injury that apparently had been aggravating him for a little bit, and he went to go give it a go during morning skate, or actually he did morning skate perfectly fine. It was in warmups where apparently he felt like, maybe I can't go, which really confuses me because I saw him Wednesday. Was it Wednesday I was down there for morning skate? And he was practicing, and he was practicing on Thursday as well. No, Thursday was an off day, actually. But he was practicing on Wednesday morning skate. He was getting some extra work in. And he looked completely fine. So I don't know what's going on with Matt Murray, but he's going to be out for a little bit. But I couldn't believe it when I saw that he, again, pulled the chute just moments before the game was about to start and put Samsonov and the team really in a tough situation like that. I just couldn't believe that it happened again, Dave, against the same team.
I was at first I was kind of getting that feeling like, is he just trying to avoid this game? But like, if he didn't want to be in this game, he would have just gone to Sheldon Keefe and said, I'd rather not start in this game. But also, like,
dude, you can't say that. Can't say that.
But like, he's a professional. He's dealt with harder games in his career. I can't see the game against the Ottawa Senators giving him that sort of concern. I just think, like, I'm just like, like they knew he was dealing with an ankle issue. How do they not realize that this could be something? Well, could be something that would flare up. Because what I didn't like about this situation was it threw Ilya Samsonov the biggest curveball. It threw him under the bus. It threw the whole team off. Like, you watch the way this team played. Yeah, I felt like there was a lot of obviously changes that were going throughout, right? Pontus Oldenburg was a second line center for this team. Samsonov's in the game. Like, there's a lot of things that were off about it. And I'm just like, that Murray thing just really threw it off. And like, we had, I guess maybe we'll bring this up now. We did record an episode to preface this game when we had technical difficulties where our streaming or the thing that we record on didn't actually save the recording.
Technical difficulties. We did right. We did a podcast on Friday.
It was a fantastic podcast.
We did. We got Ross Spawn from Locked On Sens. We had both angles covering it, and then we were unable to recover the file. And unfortunately, it's lost somewhere on the internet, on the interwebs. But anyways.
I wrote a very strongly worded reply to the customers. I feel bad for the customer service person because I just kind of let all my feelings out on them. But what Ross did say was the big problem with Matt Murray was, I mean, especially with the starting goaltender, your best ability is your availability in a lot of ways.
Dude.
That's been a problem for Matt Murray. Not like this year, especially, and when he has been available, there have been some shaky moments for him.
You know what the worst part about that was? So I like jokingly on Leafs lunch was poking fun at Matt Murray and what happened last time. Anytime I would say, or Julia would say, Matt Murray, starting tonight, I'm like, well, we'll see. I just always put in like, we think Matt Murray will start tonight. I want to see it before I believe it. And I just kept like kind of poking fun at it. And turns out I was right to be skeptical because it's exactly what happened. Because do you remember it was against the Maple Leafs a couple of years ago, actually. He went out and he did his morning skate or whatever. He didn't do skate, I guess. And then he was the projected starter. He went out and he did the pregame skate, the warm-up, and then all of a sudden, Joey Daccord was your goaltender taking on the Maple Leafs. And they ended up winning the game, actually. So it didn't quite impact Joey Daccord like it did Samsonov the other night. But still, that's why it's like there's been a history of him pulling the pin after warm-ups or morning skate, morning of. And so until I see him between the pipes when that puck drops, I don't know how much trust or faith I can really have in this guy going forward. And I think that's going to be a big problem, actually, for the Maple Leafs going forward. It's like, that's not twice that it's happened, right? 3 strikes, you're out. Is he going to get another opportunity to like still be part of this tandem? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I know that they say they're going to reevaluate him come
after the All-Star break.
After the All-Star break, but like, buds.
But here's the thing: he's making over $4 million. So you like, are you gonna like for me? You can't waste starts. I'm totally on board with that. Like Joseph Woll is he's going to be the guy that's going to back up Samsonov while Murray's out.
Can I finish? I'm going to finish where I was going there, pal.
Okay.
Robidas Island. Yeah, I know it's been vacant for a while now. Robidas Island's been vacant for many, many years. I guess since what, Lupul?
Nathan Horton after Lupul?
Oh yeah, I guess technically like Horton Clarkson, but those are different. Those are like they were dunzos. That was kind of a different situation.
We knew they were dunzos.
Yeah. I mean,
it could get to that point where the team's just like, look, we need you to be. If you're not able to stay healthy, we have to find guys that will not only find guys that will stay healthy, but your cap, it kind of becomes a little bit valuable to us to add pieces that, I see you're getting there. Same goes with Jake Muzzin, right? Like you can't bring Jake Muzzin back.
I think they already know he's like, I know he's going to get reevaluated in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I believe they already know like what they're expecting there.
See, like this is where it's so tough to know about with hockey. We have no idea if this is an ankle sprain, if this is we have no idea what exactly this issue is. So we can only speculate that if it's an ankle issue, it's obviously going to affect his mobility and things like that. There's no way to know for sure how long this could be. If it could be a severe thing. Like we just have no idea. This is where I get a little frustrated with how injuries are kind of done in the NHL. We have a little more.
Well, you look at the NFL, right? Like you knew exactly it was a grade 2, high ankle sprain. You even knew where it was. Grade 2 high ankle sprain on Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
like you knew the exact injury.
Yeah, because the NFL understands the betting angles and just a lot of and like teams have to disclose injuries. Even the NBA has a strict injury protocol now. And like if teams don't follow that protocol properly, they get fined like $25,000 if they don't do that properly. So like if I'm the Leafs, if Matt Murray, if there's even any question that he is not 100%. Yeah, I would consider looking into your options here because look, first off, Joseph Woll has been very good for the Marlies this year.
Who has he ever been? I'll pull up
He
his numbers.
lost his first game after in his 13th start of the season. It's pretty impressive for a guy who was out. Talking about injuries, a guy who was out for 8 months because of now he had shoulder surgery and then he had a setback in his recovery. Shoulder surgeries are pretty gruesome. They're not exactly something you can bounce back very quickly, especially if you're a goaltender. Like any type of surgery for a goaltender, you have to be almost certain that that they're going to be fine. But yeah, no, if the problem here is okay, does that mean the Leafs have to look at getting a goaltender if Matt Murray isn't available? And that's the complicated part to me.
Yeah, you're right. Like it is. If Matt Murray is unable to go, or if there's an ankle issue there, do they feel like they need to get another goalie? I don't know if they do though, just because I think they look at Joe Woll as a potential a guy who might be ready to play some NHL games. So, and if not him, I mean Eric Sjogren's come up and he's giving you perfectly fine minutes at net. I mean, you don't feel great about it, obviously,
No,
but
unfortunately.
no, but I mean, how many other goalies are out there that you could even trade for? What do you trade for? Cam Talbot? Like, there's just not a whole lot of guys you can go get.
Can't tell what's going through his own injury issues now. I
That's
actually think like Joseph Woll played 4 games
last
year.
Yeah,
And he put up average numbers. And I think one of those starts was a great start, but he went 3-1.
he had a shutout against the Islanders in one of those starts.
Yeah, like I would like to see that the Leafs can actually draft and develop a goaltender.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't think they would go after a new guy. I believe that they think they have guys internally. Like if Samsonov can be your one and then come bring in Joseph Woll to be, 1C maybe. Not quite a 50-50 start, but like a 60-30 type or 60-40, 65-35 type of workload with him and Joseph Woll. Like that's what I think they probably would like to do. We'll see. Again, this is going to come down to the health of Matt Murray, which you're not going to know for another couple of weeks when they get back from their the All-Star break. But even then, they said, "Yeah, we'll take a look then, and we'll see." So we don't know a whole lot. We don't know a whole lot, but there's been a lot of situations where guys have just a seemingly minor injury, and then all of a sudden they're out for the year, and we see this happen quite often. I don't know. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. All right, buddy. Did you have any last words or comments that you wanted to make on that, or you want to wrap things up?
Well, all I'm just gonna say is the Leafs are going to be playing the slumping Boston Bruins on Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
and I just think back to that game. I mean, we can kind of bring this up when we preview that game, but man, that loss to the Bruins a few weeks ago, it hurt in the moment. I'm just like, if only they found a way to win that game, how things might have looked. It might have looked a little like first place Atlantic would be a little more in sight.
Well, that's a 4-point game there, right?
Yep.
Like you win if they would have won that game, you're now looking at 4. So let's see where standings are at. Because you're right, the Bruins, they've lost what, 3 in a row?
3 in a row.
Wow, 3 straight games. It's insane. So if they would have won that game, the Leafs would be at 72 points. Boston would be at 79. There'd be a 7-point difference between the two. Boston would have a game in hand, but imagine they win the game on Wednesday. Now you're going into the All-Star break, and Toronto would only be
5 points.
5 points back of Boston.
That's why I'm saying
30 games to go.
You cannot. This is why you cannot lose games against teams that you are either chasing or being chased by.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay and Boston can't lose, like, because home ice is very important. If first in the Atlantic, I mean, look, I'm not giving up on first in the Atlantic. I know Sheldon Keefe kind of did. I ain't giving up until I see that the Y, because it's X for the playoffs and Y for the division. I ain't giving up the idea of first in the Atlantic until I see it, because Boston just dropped 3 in a row. I think that was something that nobody thought they would do just because it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how much further that slump goes. We'll see if they bust it, right? I mean, now they got Toronto coming up, and it's a good time for the Leafs to be taking on a slumping Bruins. Because if they can get the points, it does make things maybe a tad more interesting.
And it's
Just
in Toronto, too.
Yeah, it's going to be right in Toronto. I'll probably go down for the game. Go cover it for us here. Get a nice up close and personal view / very high and far away up in the press box. Literally, maybe like people complain about being in the top of the 300s. That's basically where the press sits. Like that's literally where they sit all the time. So they don't get any special treatment either. Anyways, why don't we call it for today, and we'll come back tomorrow, and we can continue to chat about maybe how there could be a sliver of hope for this team to still win the division. We'll do some math tomorrow, and we'll talk about it. Maybe we could even do some cosine, no sign tomorrow, because we got an off day, right? There's like an off day. We don't typically have those because there's a second day in between games. So we can get into some stuff tomorrow. But that'll do it for us today on the podcast. And thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to the Locked On Leafs podcast on all podcast platforms and receive daily Leafs content from myself on Twitter at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morassutti. Also, go ahead and follow the show at Locked On Leafs. Subscribe on YouTube and leave a like and a comment down below as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. We're back with another episode for you guys tomorrow, but until then, keep locked right here on Locked On Leafs.